In America, wealth isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a machine. It runs on a really clear set of rules and systems. And once you see the blueprint, you can actually start building with it. And that is exactly what we're going to map out today.
So let's just start with the single most important question you can ask about your finances. Is your money working as hard as you are? For most people, if they're being honest, the answer is probably not. Our goal here is to show you exactly how to flip that around.
And this really boils down to two completely different financial realities. On the left, you've got earned income. Think of it like a hamster wheel. It's tied directly to your time, it gets taxed pretty heavily, and the second you stop running, well, the money stops. But on the right, you have asset income. Now this is the goal. This is like a money tree. It works for you 24/7. It gets much better tax treatment, and it keeps growing whether you're working, sleeping, or on vacation.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on this money system and really see how wealth is constructed inside of it. Now, let's be really clear about something. Wealth in this system is almost never about luck. It's a machine, and it's specifically engineered to reward three key things: having a good strategy, taking ownership, and thinking long-term. It's not a lottery, it's a blueprint.
So how do you actually start using that blueprint? Well, it all begins with the most fundamental shift you can possibly make, moving from just earning to owning.
Think of your earned income, your salary, as the foundation of a building. It's absolutely crucial, right? It gives you stability, it pays the bills. But here's the thing about a foundation. It has a ceiling. Because it's tied directly to your time, you can only build it so high. It's the foundation, for sure, but it is not the skyscraper.
This right here is the single most important pivot you can make. The entire game changes the moment you stop thinking only about working for money and you start getting obsessed with how to make your money work for you. That mindset shift is the key that unlocks the whole system.
And how do you do that? How does money actually work for you? It's through ownership. That's the mechanism. It's the act of taking your income and literally transforming it into equity by buying assets. Things like stocks, a piece of a business, real estate, things that have the potential to grow all by themselves.
Okay, so once you've made that switch to an ownership mindset, how do you hit the accelerator? Well, this is where the system has these built-in, let's call them power-ups, these really powerful tools designed to supercharge your growth.
The first power-up is the most famous one for a reason: compounding. It is the quiet, relentless engine of wealth. At first, you barely notice it, but over time, as your returns start generating their own returns, that growth curve just goes exponential. It's the magic of what happens when time eats money.
All right, our next power-up is leverage. And let's be super clear. This isn't just about going into debt. This is about strategically using other people's money as a financial tool to amplify your own power. Leverage lets you control, say, a $500,000 asset with just $50,000 of your own, potentially multiplying your gains tenfold.
Let's make this really concrete with a classic example: real estate. So you buy a $500,000 property, but you only put a small fraction of that down. Then a tenant moves in, and their monthly rent covers your mortgage payment. All the while, the property's value is going up, and you're building equity, mostly with the bank's money and your tenant's rent. That is leverage in action.
So when you combine ownership with compounding and leverage, you unlock this whole next level of the game. We'll call it the owner's advantage. This is where you really start mastering the rules of the system.
And right here is one of the biggest secrets of the whole system, and it's written right into the US tax code. Income from your job can get taxed at a really high rate, but the profits you make from assets you've owned for over a year, that's called long-term capital gains, are typically taxed at a much, much lower rate. The system is explicitly designed to reward owners more than earners.
And it goes even deeper than that. Owners get to deduct business expenses, which lowers their taxable income. Real estate investors can claim depreciation, which is a tax deduction for wear and tear, even while the property is actually going up in value. All of these advantages mean more money in your pocket that you can then reinvest to let that compounding engine really do its work.
All of these tax advantages create surplus cash. And what you do with that cash is the final discipline that really separates the amateurs from the pros: reinvestment. Instead of taking those profits to upgrade your lifestyle, you pour that money back into the machine, buying more assets, expanding your business, improving what you already have. Reinvestment is the fuel that keeps the whole thing going.
But here's the real truth. All of these tools we've talked about, compounding, leverage, the tax codes. They're all pretty much useless without one thing. The foundation of real financial freedom isn't a tactic. It's all about your mindset.
Just think about this fundamental shift. A consumer asks, "What can I afford?" And that question almost always leads to spending. An owner asks, "What kind of return will this generate?" And that question leads to investment and to growth. It's such a simple but profound change in the questions you ask about money.
So as we've walked through, you can see this is a layered process. It all starts with your income, you use that to save, and you use those savings to invest and become an owner. From there, you start to apply leverage, and, most critically, you continuously reinvest your profits to build the next layer and the next.
Look, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, let it be this. Wealth is not a lottery ticket. It is built block by block. It is a deliberate system that rewards two things above all else: the patience to let time do its magic and the courage to actually take action and lay that first stone.
The system is there. The rules are understandable. They're literally designed to be used. So the only question left is, now that you know the rules, what are you going to build?